From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, August the 19th, 2020. Sirens blared across southern Israel last night as a rocket was fired at the region from Gaza. It appeared to land in an open area and there were no injuries caused by the rocket. However, 2 young girls were lightly injured while running to bomb shelters. In response to the rocket, as well as in response to explosive balloons launched from Gaza into Israel, which sparked over 24 fires in Israel today alone, the IDF tweeted that it struck Hamas terror targets in Gaza, including a military compound belonging to one of Hamas's special arrays, reiterating that Hamas will bear the consequences for terror activity against Israeli civilians. Well, Saudi Arabia officially responded for the first time today on the Abraham Accord, the normalization of ties announced last week between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. During a joint press conference with German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas today in Berlin, Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan told reporters that he lauded the part of the deal which has Israel halting any annexation of parts of the West Bank. And the kingdom's foreign affairs ministry tweeted that Saudi Arabia considers annexation and building settlements as illegitimate and detrimental to the two-state solution. In perhaps a reference to any potential Saudi agreement with Israel, Ben Farhan repeated support for the Arab Peace Initiative of 2002. He said peace must be achieved between the Israelis and the Palestinians on the basis of international parameters. Once this goal is achieved, anything is possible. The initiative states that normalization with Israel can only happen if Israel agrees to a lasting peace deal with the Palestinians, which includes the establishment of a Palestinian state based on the 1967 borders. Meanwhile, the foreign minister of Sudan, who suggested that his country could be next to normalize ties with Israel, was fired, seemingly because of those remarks made apparently without permission. The official Sudanese news agency reported that the acting foreign minister issued a decision relieving Haidar Badawi Sadiq of his position. Harsh criticism today over the appearance last night of activist Linda Sarsour on the live stream of the Democratic National Convention's panel of the Muslim Delegates Assembly. Sarsour is known for her anti-Israel views. She said in the meeting, the Democratic Party is not perfect, but it is absolutely our party at this moment. The Republican Jewish Coalition's executive director, Matt Brooks, said it was outrageous that the Democratic National Committee would allow Linda Sarsour to represent their party to American voters, calling her a rabid anti-Semite. Spokesman for Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden, Andrew Bates, released a statement in response to Sarsour's appearance, saying that Joe Biden has been a strong supporter of Israel and a vehement opponent of anti-Semitism his entire life. And he obviously condemns her views, talking about Sarsour, and opposes BDS, as does the Democratic platform, referring there to Sarsour's support of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions campaign against the state of Israel. Bates stressed of Sarsour she has no role in the Biden campaign whatsoever. An anti-Israel questionnaire is causing outrage. It was released by the Democratic Socialists of America, the DSA, and circulated to candidates for New York City Council. New York One reporter Zach Fink posted a screenshot from the questionnaire to Twitter. It reads, "Do you pledge not to travel to Israel if elected to City Council in solidarity with Palestinians living under occupation?" Well, 52 members of the New York Assembly, Jewish and non-Jewish, condemned the questionnaire in a letter yesterday, writing, "This blatantly anti-Semitic litmus test is abhorrent, singling out the only Jewish state, a strong democracy in the region where women's rights, freedom of speech, and religious freedom are protected, is detestable. The DSA's position, they wrote, cannot be rationalized. It is offensive, anti-Semitic, and dangerous, particularly at a time when anti-Semitism is on the rise in the United States and in the New York area. They said no political organization that embeds anti-Semitism into its platform should be welcome in the halls of our legislature. The leaders of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Arthur Stark, William Daroff, and Malcolm Hoenlein, issued a press release as well. They wrote that they were appalled by the blatantly discriminatory rhetoric in the questionnaire. They wrote, "It is outrageous that travel to one country in the entire world, Israel, is singled out by the DSA New York chapter for irrational discriminatory treatment, as is their support for the pernicious boycott, divestment, and sanctions campaign that seeks Israel's destruction. To appear to espouse the values of diversity and inclusion while advocating blatant hatred for the Jewish state is a hypocritical insult to all who seek those goals." Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, August the 19th at 7 o'clock, Professor Tzvi Gittelman talks about how nationality and religion are used to describe Jews in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union. At 8, Chief Rabbi of Moscow Pinchas Goldschmidt analyzes European anti-Semitism and the lessons it can teach American Jews. That's from Congregation Agudat Shalom in Stamford, Connecticut. At 9, Mark Golub speaks with Leah Golden, mother of IDF Lieutenant Hadar Golden, who was murdered by Hamas in 2014. She describes her more than 5 years of efforts to move the world community to demand Hamas comply with international norms and return her son's body. At 10, it's a look at the ethics of the IDF. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News update for Wednesday, August the 19th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy. Stay well.